Hello and welcome to our December roundup for the housing and letting market for Cardiff, Wales and the UK. The Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors Residential Market Survey for Wales summarises that supply shortfall pushes prices up further in Wales as supply fails to meet demand. In summary, price balance points to higher prices across Wales for the 5th consecutive month. New sales instructions failed to meet demand for the majority of 2015. Sales growth in Wales is strong and expectations positive. The Chancellor announces the bombshell of a 3% stamp duty surcharge on the purchases for buy-to-let landlords and second homes. Now, in more detail, house prices have risen across Wales for the 5th consecutive month, and in October, 26% more chartered surveyors reported house price rise across Wales. Price in Wales are predicted to continue to increase, with a net balance of 17% of chartered surveyors expecting a further rise in prices in the next 3 months. Demand from potential buyers in Wales remained firm in October, with a net balance of 26% of chartered surveyors seeing a rise in new buyer inquiries. Demand continues to considerably outpace supply, with a net balance of 12% of chartered surveyors reporting a fall in supply of new stock in the Welsh market, a trend witnessed throughout much of 2015. Despite the lack of new stock coming to the market, sales activity remains firm in Wales, with a net balance of 38% of chartered surveyors reporting a rise in the number of transactions and expectations, pointing to further growth in the months to come. This reflects with Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs transactions data, which has shown an upward trend in activity in Wales over the course of the year to date. In Cardiff, with a crisis shortage of traditional 3-bedroom semis, many second steppers, i.e. those individuals moving from an existing 2-bedroom property, for example, are holding back from placing their properties on the market as they cannot find a suitable property to purchase. Therefore, supply at the lower end of the market is restrained, coupled with the lack of new build properties at affordable prices, so accelerating the problem. UK house prices are expected to rise by 4.5% for each of the next 5 consecutive years, on an cumulative increase of around 25%, according to the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. The problem in the long term, as it has been in the short term, is the shortage of stock. RICS says demand continues to considerably outpace supply, and the number of new instructions decreased in October for the 9th month in succession. If the 5-year projections regarding the outlook for both prices and rents are anything to go by, properties are set to become even less affordable going forward, making the government's focus on boosting the new build homes absolutely critical. It is our view, and other leading real estate agents, that overall the scale of interest rate increases will dictate the pace of house price growth over the next 5 years, with big regional variations. You may well ask the question, what will happen to interest rates over the next few years? Still at an all-time low since 2007, but our advice is to keep an eye on the American interest rate market, for when they rise, in our opinion, the UK will follow, and this will put some brakes on the housing market in the UK. On the 25th of November 2015, the Chancellor announced the bombshell that a stamp duty surcharge of 3% on the purchase of buy-to-let landlords and second homes. Existing and would-be landlords are likely to go on a buy-to-let buy-in spree, stamping up homes before the 3% surcharge becomes legislation on the 1st of April 2016. But then the rot may well set in and demand may plummet. For an average buy-to-let purchase of 184,000, that means that the landlord will pay an extra £5,520 from the 1st of April 2016. However, perhaps this stamp duty bombshell is good news for first-time buyers, as from April next year they will for the very first time have an edge over buy-to-let landlords who they have been competing with to purchase the same properties. In the lettings market, demand in Wales continued to outpace supply in the 3 months to October. This has been the trend nationally for some time, and unsurprisingly, rental expectations remain strong, with chartered surveyors anticipating rents to rise in 2016. Chartered surveyors are anticipating rents to rise by around 2.5% in Wales, but leading real estate city agents are anticipating rents to grow between 3 to 4.5% in each of the next 5 years. In Cardiff, the shortage of stock at the lower end of the sales market is fueling demand, which remains high. First-time buyers are competing with buy-to-let landlords and finding it difficult to acquire their first home. The popularity of the buy-to-let market shows little sign of slowing down. According to the Council of Mortgage Lenders figures for July, lending to buy-to-let landlords saw an increase of nearly 12% on the previous month and 52% year on year. In Wales, a new law for landlords and letting agents was announced by the Welsh Government, known as Rent Smart Wales, the new name of the legislation that all landlords and letting agents must comply with from the 23rd of November 2015, where landlords will need to register and be licensed if they wish to manage their own properties. If the property is managed by a letting agent, then it is the agent that must become licensed. Cardiff County Council will manage the licensing scheme on behalf of all the local authorities in Wales, and their website and help team became live on the 23rd of November. Although the new legislation starts on the 23rd of November 2015, landlords and letting agents have 12 months in which to comply with the new legislation. At Kelvin Francis, we have a help team ready to advise existing landlords, managed or tenant-fine clients, as we will update you with more news after the 23rd of November. If you are a private landlord and need assistance, please contact our rental team for advice without obligation and your next step. So until our next market and rental update, this is Tony Filice, Kelvin Francis, Sales and Rentals, saying goodbye for now, wishing you happy holidays for Christmas and the New Year, and until January.